Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. I'm kinda hyped for it. However, as amazing as this game already looks, there is a chance, not a guarantee, but a chance, that one of my most requested characters, well, first party characters at least, just might become playable for the first time, and I am of course referring to Dark Samus. However, there is one caveat to everyone's predictions, that Dark Samus will arrive as an Echo Fighter. So, these predictions have arisen due to the fact that Dark Samus' assist trophy has yet to be spotted in either the E3 Direct, the Smash Tournament, or the show floor demo, and that Samus' palette swap based on Dark Samus' colors has been replaced by a new palette swap. Again, nothing concrete by any means, but certainly interesting and worthy of some healthy discussion. I've seen some fellow Metroid fans lash out at others who make these kinds of predictions regarding Dark Samus specifically as an Echo Fighter, but I want to offer a more calm and friendly perspective to those thinking that Dark Samus is just going to be some sort of clone character. I think it's important to remind my fellow Metroid fans that most people who play Smash have not touched a Metroid game, let alone one of the games that features Dark Samus. If you saw a picture of her without any gameplay context, you would think she would be an Echo as well. So, with that out of the way, let's begin. But before delving into why she should differentiate from Samus, let's talk about what makes her so compelling. Let's talk about her origin. Phase. A sentient planetary mass of Phazon that reproduces by launching Leviathan seeds at various planets and faraway galaxies throughout the cosmos. At some unknown time in the past, one of these seeds lands on the planet Talon 4. A colony of Chozo pilgrims who currently reside on the planet attempt to destroy the seed, but ultimately fail, with many of its residents succumbing to its corruption. Before the remaining survivors evacuate, they use the last of their resources to contain the outbreak and stop further corruption of the planet. This doesn't come without a cost, however, as one of the Chozo's own Metroids, artificially crafted organisms designed for population control, is corrupted by the seed's Phazon before it's sealed off. Sometime in the future, Samus Aran lands on Talon 4 and discovers the space pirates have been mining the planet for Phazon in an attempt to strengthen their forces. Seeing the effects of Phazon up close, Samus knows she cannot let this substance fall into the wrong hands, and thus it must be completely destroyed. After gaining access to the impact crater, Samus faces the final hurdle in her way, the lone Metroid, now mutated into Metroid Prime after years of Phazon nutrition. Samus defeats the creature in battle, but before striking the killing blow, it latches onto her and siphons part of her power suit before exploding. Samus, thinking the conflict is over, flies off the planet. Unbeknownst to her, however, deep in the wreckage of the impact crater, Metroid Prime uses the siphoned power suit to regenerate itself into a mimic of Samus. Cursed with the body of the person who bested them in combat, Dark Samus, newly born, seeks revenge on the hunter herself for taking everything. And that's the origin of Dark Samus. It's no Shakespearean tale by any means, but it's certainly unique and interesting among those of Nintendo's other villains in their roster. So now that we've learned more about Dark Samus' significance within the Metroid universe, it's time to look at her in action, and use what we see to compose a rough moveset for her in Super Smash Bros. Every single fighter has a unique introductory animation during the countdown before a match starts. There's a bunch of these that could work for Dark Samus, however, I think the best and most unique one for her would be her animation of her materializing from Phazon particles. One of the most important characteristics of Dark Samus that needs to be kept in mind, assuming she even is a playable fighter, is that she rarely touches the ground. She's either flying or hovering most of the time, usually the latter. Now, she touches the ground once in a while, but it's very seldomly, and usually after she gets hit. The vast majority of the time, she is in the air, and that needs to be translated into her gameplay. So for her movement, I'm imagining a hover very similar to how Mewtwo handles. In terms of her dodging, her forward dodge would be this strafe that you see here in most of her boss battles, while her backwards dodge would be this hand flip right here. For her standard B attack, Dark Samus fires her arm cannon like a machine gun. No charging function, and this would be visually similar to how she hits with her assist trophy in Smash 4. Every 3 hits does 1% of damage, because we don't want something like this to be too overpowered now, do we? Dark Samus' side special attack is going to be her Boost Ball ability. This is mostly seen in Metroid Prime 2, however, it can be seen briefly during the Aurora Unit 313 battle in Prime 3. In Smash, this is going to be visually similar to Sonic's Spin Dash and Yoshi's Egg Roll, so something along those lines. For her down B, Dark Samus uses the Phazon Shield from Metroid Prime 3 Corruption. For this move, she summons Phazon tendrils from the ground that reflects projectiles and damages any opponents that touch it. This is similar to many of the other reflective moves that have been used throughout the Smash series, though I think the best comparison could be used with Fox's Reflector, which is also mapped to down B. Dark Samus's up special is going to be the Shine Spark. Now, I don't think this is the literal Shine Spark that's related to the Speed Booster also seen in the Metroid series. However, it's the most visually similar thing that I can think of, so that's just what I'm going to call it. This can be seen in Metroid Prime 2 in both the first and second times you encounter her. For this move, Dark Samus envelops herself in pure Phazon energy before launching herself in the direction chosen. This is exactly similar to Fox's up B. Another Fox comparison, what do you know? Dark Samus' side A smash is her signature spread shot. For this attack, she fires a short-range spread of Phazon. The longer it's charged, the further the range. The sweet spot is at the tip of the arm cannon and deals additional damage as well as extra knockback. For her down A smash, Dark Samus uses Expel by crossing her arms Wakanda style before thrusting her arms towards the ground, expelling pure Phazon energy. For her up A smash, Dark Samus uses Summon, where she summons 2 Phazon tendrils from her Phazon shield, one at each side with a pulling animation. Now, pretty much all of these abilities I actually think could be pretty much the exact same as Samus, and so this is where you could see a little bit of crossover between the two. However, there are a couple of small tweaks that I'd make. For her side air, I'd give Dark Samus the Hand of Doom, where she projects small Phazon tendrils from her left hand and thrusts outward. This would be to the similar effect of Captain Falcon's All-American Knee of Justice. For Dark Samus' dash attack, she's going to bring out the Force Field from Metroid Prime 2. Now this is a really interesting one because technically the Force Field and Phazon's Shield are just palette swaps of each other. They're the exact same abilities in that they damage you if you touch them and they block all incoming fire. The reason I thought it'd be cool to implement both of these into her movesets is because in Prime 2, Dark Samus uses her Force Field offensively, where she typically likes to charge at you and then damage you with the Force Field. Whereas in Prime 3, more often you'll see her blocking your missiles with this ability. And so that's why I put the Phazon Shield as a defensive ability, whilst this is going to be an oncoming attack. The nerf comes in hand in the fact that it will only be her height, and that it will not surround her like the Phazon Shield does, it will only be in front of her. So unlike Samus, Dark Samus doesn't have the grapple beam, so she'll just have to grab people the old-fashioned way. But since that means her arm cannon is going to be freed up, the way she damages grappled opponents is just going to be firing at them at point blank. There are a bunch of different attacks that you could use for Dark Samus' final smash, but again, I want her to be as unique as possible. And there is one particular attack that I think could do just that. It wouldn't be unique just in terms of Metroid characters, it would be unique in terms of the entire Super Smash Bros. Ultimate roster. And I am of course talking about this. That's right, Dark Samus' final smash is split personality. Now, I know what you're thinking. At face value, that seems extremely overpowered, even for a final smash. However, there are a couple of caveats to take note of. So, when she does this ability in Metroid Prime 3, the copies that she makes are far weaker than herself and can be killed off pretty easily. And we're going to mimic that in Smash, as any opponent that damages her new split copy is going to receive double damage. It's also going to be limited to just one copy, whereas Prime 3 she could do as much as 2 copies. In Smash, it's just going to be 1 copy across the board, not just for balance, but because I would imagine an 8-player Smash, that would be pretty hectic to get a two other copies there on the board. So, 1 copy, double damage, and a unique final Smash that everybody loves. I'll be honest, I don't have many ideas for Dark Samus's taunts. Perhaps it could be this mid-battle charge-up right here when you first encounter her in Prime 2, or perhaps this spin that she does when she regroups all of her split personality clones together in the final battle of Prime 3. Or perhaps you could even do an original taunt or something like that. I don't know, there's many possibilities. However, there is one taunt that absolutely must be implemented if she's a playable character, and that is her signature laugh. For her default look, I think Dark Samus should rock her Prime 3 look. Prime 3 sold more than Prime 2, and it was also the look chosen for her assist trophy in Smash 4. So suffice to say, many more people are familiar with that look, therefore I think it should be her default. But I don't think it has to end there, and if we really want to go the extra mile, here are some great alternate costume ideas. The first one is pretty obvious, and that's her Metroid Prime 2 look. Although, if you want to go even further than that, put in a palette swap that gives her Phazon suit colors, so that way you can have an interpretation of what she looked like at the end credits scene of Prime 1. That would be really cool. And for a second alternate costume, her finale appearance at the very end of Prime 2. That would be really cool, the one where she's actually mimicking the essence of Metroid Prime. And there you have it. We just took Dark Samus and turned her into a wholly unique Super Smash Bros. Fighter. And we did it using moves that she's already demonstrated throughout the Metroid series. Hopefully, this can be a reality, but as of right now, it is merely a dream. Expect more Hype Smash content in the future, but in the meantime, if you liked the video, give it a like, and if you hated the video, subscribe to my channel. Until next time, see you next mission.